Hi, everyone, and good evening. Thank you for joining in good time. We will buy some time to get into good quorum.
Things. Greetings.
Someone speaking? For those just joining, thank you for joining. When you get to good quorum, we're going to start. We are starting soon. In 3 minutes, we are going to start. Thank you for joining. All right. Good evening once more. For those who are joining, thank you for joining in good time. I'm your host for tonight. My name is Grace. I handle community here at Zindua. If you're coming across Zindua for the very first time, Zindua School is a coding school where we offer a couple of courses. And tonight, our webinar is inspired by DevOps, and I'm looking forward to learn with you guys. We have a couple of experts on call who are going to take us through DevOps, what it is, what it's all about, what a DevOps person normally does, what are the prerequisites, and then they're also going to handle our questions in case we have any questions. In case you get a question as we move along, feel free to put it on chat. Sorry, my computer has a glitch. I can see Annette on call. I'll just give her a minute to help me with that. Before we continue, just let me know if you can hear me. You can respond on chat. You can give me a thumbs up. Just let me know if I'm audible. If you can hear me, just give me a thumbs up, or you can respond to me on chat. Okay. Great. Thank you for confirming, Bruce. Thank you, Gideon. All right. So our topic for tonight is DevOps in an AI conquered world. So we're going to understand DevOps one-on-one, basically understanding what it is all about and its importance in today's AI world. So I want us to play a game. It's a very simple game. If you're not a DevOps engineer, don't worry. It's a very simple game. It has around 12 questions. It's a fun game. So don't don't um don't panic. So you can go to wayground.com, stop join, and then put that code. I'll be waiting for you guys to join. So I'll give you 2 minutes. Kindly join. The game is super simple. So don't worry. I hope we're joining. Let's keep joining. We have at least 5 people joining the game. We can start. Sorry for the glitch. I have pasted the new code on the message chat. Use that new code on the chat. The one on the screen has expired, so kindly use the one on the chat. Same link, just the code that is different. I've also pasted the link as well in case you're having trouble. Use the new code 868303. You can see 2 people. If we can join, if we can have 3 more join. All right, 1 more person. We are 14 on call. All right. Okay, I can see 6 participants trying. You can join in if you just joined. It's a very simple game. The questions are fair. If you don't have a background, don't worry. Okay, we have 2 more minutes to finish the game. I can see the leaderboard coming in nicely. I think the leaderboard keeps changing as people attempt more questions. Curious to see who's gonna keep the number 1 spot. Two more minutes to wind up. 2 more minutes. Okay, we have 9 people on the call on the game. If you're speaking, kindly mute yourself. Can see 5 people are halfway. I'll add a minute for us to wind up. Almost there. The people who are getting everything, I'm assuming the people already with a background. In as much as the game is fair, okay, I can see we have our winner. while others are still attempting. We have Nebula leading with 11,660. I don't know who has the username Nebula. But congratulations on the win. Eva. Okay, I see you, Eva. Congratulations. Followed by some people are still attempting, but for the second person on the leaderboard who has completed has 8,090. The rest are not done, followed by okay. Knocked out, we have Gabriel, we have Isaac tying. Okay. All right. Congratulations to the top three. Thank you for attempting the game. I think I will end the game at that. For those who just joined, thank you for joining. Okay, Nebula at first place. At second, we have Gabriel, and then we have Isaac at that place. I know the two are still changing because people are still attempting, but thank you for attempting the game. So Annette, if you're on call, I think you can continue sharing the screen. Annette, are you still on call? Or are you able to see her screen? Or is it on my end? Nope. Okay. All right. Before she's back, I don't want to take much time. I've already taken 20 minutes. I will go ahead and introduce our facilitators for the day. We have pardon the code, please. We're talking about the code for the game. I'm not sure, Gideon. Kindly clarify. But we have Ezekiel on call. We also have Joseph Kalume on call. Ezekiel is one of our software engineering TMs here at Zindua. We also have Kalume, who comes in to handle our specialization courses. I know he works at KCB. I think he will give us much background around that. Without further ado, let me hand it over to Ezekiel, who will take us through the session. Ezekiel, you can hear me?
I can. I don't know why your screen isn't coming through. I don't know whether there's an issue. You can hear me as well?
Yes, I can. I have a problem with my laptop. It glitched. Annette was the one helping to share, but I'm not sure if she's still on call.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem.
Okay.
So probably a simple introduction from Joseph as well. Before you can go, as you heard, I'm Ezekiel, technical mentor at Zindua School. So we'll be able to take you through the base understanding of DevOps, but majorly Kalume is the specialty in that. We'll be able to take it through as I call him in from there. Let me share my screen so that you can be able to know where to pick it from pretty much. Meanwhile, Kalume, you can start by introducing yourself if you can hear us.
Yes, Ezekiel, I can hear you. Kindly confirm the same.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so hello, how are you, everyone? So my name is Joseph Kalume. I'm a DevOps engineer at KCB, and I'm happy to be part of you today. I'm looking forward to learning and sharing what I know and learning from what I don't know from you. So welcome all.
Okay, you can pick it up. Probably I can be able to go into the major things that we supposed to talk about, but you focus on from number 2. Probably you can start from here. Guess you've done the introduction, you've done the game, then you can go ahead from there. Take it away, Kalume.
So thank you, Ezekiel. So yeah, on the today's session, we are focusing on the DevOps and the emerging of AI in the today's world of technology. So AI has revolutionized almost each and every sector in tech, ranging from software development to the DevOps. So first things first, maybe we need to understand what is DevOps. I hope it's not a new term to most of us, if not all, but maybe the understanding might differ from one person to another. And also, if you take 5 people and take them to a place and everyone should write his or her own definition of DevOps, the meaning might be the same, but the wording might differ. We should not focus more on the wording, but on the meaning and the main goal on what they're trying to explain. So as it has been projected on the screen, a DevOps should be a culture and set of practices and the tools that enable us to practice the culture and have the practice with us. So what does this culture do? So this culture of DevOps comes from the main words, which is development and operations. So development is software development. So you write code, then this code should be used by the end users. So let's say you've written a website, then this website should be hosted somewhere so that the users can be able to access this website if it's for a registration form, if it's an article, and so on. So then we have another part which is the ops. So what does the ops do? This ensure the availability of this website, and also they ensure, is it running optimally? Is it running on the right place? And the users, are they able to reach it? Are they able to view the website? So when you bring these two together, is what we call the DevOps. So traditionally, these two teams were sitting both logically and physically on two different departments, if you can say. So the development team was sitting on as the software engineers, then you have the operations team. So what it does is that the development team they'll do is that they'll write the code, they'll test the code on their own, they hand it over to QA, the QA will test the code, then they'll hand over to operations team for the deployment. So the operation team, after it has been deployed, then the development team is out of that. So anything that happens then is for the operation team to check and then to throw it back in course, to give it back to the development team to check on the errors. What this does was it brought a lot of standoffs because the time it takes for the project to move from software development to deployment, then if something happens, let's say it during the peak season and a service, let's say it's a service of it's a message chat service, so the message are not able to be delivered to the recipient, then that means the service to do that, it has failed. Then the operations team, it means they need to get a software developer to check on that issue, to check on the logs, analyze the logs, and give it to the developer and the developer to fix that issue. So that means we can spend hours or days finding a solution around that part. So because of this issue, that how the DevOps came to place. So what DevOps came to place is that we combine all these teams, all the teams that are stakeholders in the development and the delivery of the software, any software. So the development team will sit together with the QA teams, will sit together with the business analysts and the architecture or enterprise solutions engineers, will sit together with the operations team. This does not mean that they sit together on the same office, but there is that part of collaboration. So if it's an item or it's a service that just need to be developed, almost all the teams are involved. So they know that we have this service that will be starting development today, and it's a sprint of 2 weeks. In 2 weeks' time, this service will need to be deployed to the production environment. So in this case, that means since we have the collaboration in place, then all the teams are aware of this service. So if it's an operation team, but he maybe got the document on the requirements for the service in case of failure, or he is able to understand, not fully, but to some extent. But also, if it's a QA engineer, is able to write the test cases to test against this code. Test cases, that is able to test the code and provide and prove that the quality of this software is good. The same way comes in a security guy. So what the security guy will do is that in each and every commit, maybe on the Git, they'll run maybe a tool, the tool that can run through the repositories to check, are there any bugs on the code or during the delivery of the software before we deliver to the production team or the operations team. Along the way, has this software met all the security standards that has been set by the organization? So at the end of the day, on this we're able to ship a software that is quality and that is able to meet our expectation as all the technology stakeholders. So the DevOps in all what it comes to do is that to bring the part of collaboration, but also the automation. So the automation part here is in this software, when the code is pushed, then the developer will not need to build this code manually on each and every commit. So what it does, the DevOps will do is that they'll develop a pipeline. So this pipeline, what it will do is that they'll able to build this code, they're able to test this code against the test cases that has been written by the quality engineers, and also they'll be able to test this code against the security standards. So if it's a Trevi, if it's a Sonar Cube, it will check for the dust and SAST analysis, and then it will deliver this software to it will deploy this software to the standard environment. So if let's say we have two environments, the development environment, then we have the pipeline that will do the CI and the CD for the development environment. Then when this software has been approved and it's okay for the users to use it, then another run for release will be done so that software can be deployed to the production environment. So what the automation does is it removes the manual work that the developers or the operations guy need to do, because manual is prone to error. So when you remove that part, and also it's fast because you don't need to do a Maven run. Maybe it's for the Spring Boot, you don't need to Maven run for each and every build to build the jar files, to build the image maybe, and put the image to the registry in case you're using the container orchestrators. Instead, the pipeline will do for you all those tasks. Then at the end, you'll see the application has been developed to the destination environment, and you'll test the software against the test cases maybe you have, apart from those that have been integrated into the pipeline. So the DevOps, what it promotes the collaboration, the team empowerment, and the automation for the faster and reliable delivery of the software. Because this software, if it has been built, we have tested against the test cases and it has passed on the threshold. If our threshold is 90, if our threshold is 100% on the code coverage, then we are sure that the software has met our minimum requirements or minimum guidelines on the quality of the software before it goes to production. So it is faster and it is safer to deploy it on the distant environment. So on the another part is who is for DevOps. So this question, it may vary from one person to other also, because maybe someone will check on, see the organization that he or she is in, then say this organization is too small for DevOps work. But as we've seen, the DevOps is not about how many people we have or how many services do we deploy on a daily services, but we are focusing on the quality, we are focusing on the safety, and we are focusing on the time that you need to deliver these services. So DevOps is for each and every stakeholder in the tech, from the developer. The developer should understand the culture of collaboration, the culture of automation. So from that end, when the developer is writing a code, we write a code that, when this code will be tested against the automated test cases that will have been declared by the QA, this code should pass. So the developer will not write a code according to his test cases, but the test cases from a different stakeholder. But also a QA will write a test cases that will test the code for quality and for functionality, that will be written by the developer. But on the part of the operations also, on this DevOps, there is a relief on the bottlenecks that is posed by delivering or deploying these services manually to the various environments. So DevOps is for each and everyone. It's a culture, because when the DevOps come, then there's a title that came up, which is DevOps engineer. Most people think that everything around the DevOps should be done by DevOps engineer. But if we go with that approach, that means the DevOps engineer will do almost everything that all the teams that need to do. Then the DevOps engineer will need to write the pipeline, but also maybe write the test cases, but also do the monitoring. What the DevOps engineer will do is that we'll set the guidelines, we'll write the pipeline, we'll set up the tools. If it's a monitoring tools, let's say logging and monitoring, the likes of Grafana, ELK, and the Azure Monitor for the Azure platforms. But who will use these tools? These tools will not be used by the DevOps engineer, because these tools will help the team that is responsible for monitoring, if it's the ops team or the other team for the monitoring, but they're the one who will use these tools. So DevOps should be for everyone, should be a culture. Each and everyone comes into the team should understand it. And another thing that everyone should be involved. That's what I can say. Yeah. So the life cycle of DevOps, when you Google the DevOps, there's the icon for it, or the row for it. It's an infinite loops. So it's something that is not you cannot say it has an end. Where it ends, then it gives us another thing to do. So the first step is to plan. So we are planning maybe for the sprint. So today we are planning, we need to do these services. These are the requirements for these services. Then from there, then it goes to developers. So what the developers will do is that they write the code. Once they are satisfied on their local host environment that this code is okay, then they'll trigger a build. So the build will package the application. Once the package is done, then there is that automation testing that will be done. But also there's those tests that will be done by the QA, the manual test. After that, when all those is okay, then that's where we can say this software is ready for the release. Then we can trigger a release pipeline. So once you're satisfied that it's okay, most likely to move from release to deploy, we'll need a manual check. But if we integrate AI, then you can do the automation test, because there's decision making that we need to be done based on the feedback that we've gotten from the plan, build, test, and deploy for the first part. Once you deploy, then you need to monitor this. How do you monitor? It's an application that is running. The application need to be, maybe it's a funds transfer application. Are we able to send money? Are we able to hakikisha and all the requirements that will be listed during that sprint? When all has been checked, then we can see what do we need to improve on this. Then from there, then we get the feedback from the users. Yeah, the application does what it does, but we can improve on this. Or the application fails on one part. So which part? Then we get the feedback. So once we get the feedback, then we go back to planning. Then we build, then we test, then release. So it's an infinite loops that does not end. So why DevOps is essential now? So DevOps, one thing about DevOps is the speed or the time it takes for us to deliver the software. Because in DevOps, one thing is that we moved from the monolith to the microservices. So on the microservices part, that means we are not building the software, everything at once, but we do in cycles, in sprints. So maybe this week you are doing this part. In next week, then we do this part, this, so like that. So if we go with that bits by bits, that means we're able to deliver our softwares fast, because most chances that these services are not depending on each other. So then why do we need to have all the services be running fast before we deploy the whole thing? So we can go on the order maybe of priority, or in any order that will be put in place. So on that order, then we deliver this software. So the speed, and also what gives us the speed is that during the planning, then all the stakeholders are there. So when the developer is writing the code, the QA is writing the test cases. So we don't wait for the developer to finish writing the code for the software, for the QA to start the testing. So also after there, during that time, we have the security guy. So the security guy also will be planning on the first to test on the security issues of this software. So during the build for dev, maybe they can be exempted from most of the test cases for the test, which is the security and the functionality test and integration test. But during the QA or test environment, then this code should undergo all the necessary checks before it is taken to production. So if it's an issue that will be identified, it is identified earlier, it is fixed before it proceeds to the next step. So on the pipeline part, when an issue is on the build, then the pipeline fail on the build. So the developer will fix. When the issue is on the test, then the pipeline will fail. So when it fails, then the developer will need to check on that issue and fix that. If it's on security, the same way. And also on the reliability. So we have this two part on the CI and CD. So for it to go to CD, first it should pass the CI. So the CI it's where we need to do the build, we need to do the test, and also the testing of those functional tests and the security test that will be done there. So before we deliver to the environment, we are sure that the application is running, it's working fine. There's no issue with this application. And also we have on the scale. So on this scale, we can see we are able to manage the complex or the chain system. So let's say we have 100 servers, we need to provision them. How do we provision them? One by one, it might take us 2, 3, or a week to provision this. But with DevOps, we can have tests where we just we do the infrastructure as code. So what infrastructure as code is we're able to give instruction to the environment where we need these servers to be, if it's a script. So once we give this instruction, then these servers can be provisioned depending on the specification. So if we say we have 10 servers that need 10 GBs, we have 10 servers that need 50 GBs, and so on and so on. So once you run the script, it's a matter of minutes. We have all the 100 servers. But also on the security, as we said earlier, we are integrating the security checks on the pipeline. That's why we get the term DevSecOps. So DevOps, security, and operation. So these things are checked earlier on the pipeline. That's where we say we are shifting security to the list. We don't wait until when we want to go to do a release. That's why we are checking security. No, before we go to the release, then we should be sure about the security of the application. Is it safe from DDoS? Is it safe from brutal attack and all? And the cross-site scripting.
Okay, I guess this is where Grace comes in. Grace, are you still there? Thank you, Kalume. I'm coming back to you in a few, so don't drop yet. I want them to keep sending their questions for Kalume in regards to DevOps, but meanwhile, Grace, you can be able to take us through.
All right. If you have any questions, feel free to put them on chat. I will go ahead and take you through why Zindua comes in this journey. I hope you've been able to understand as Kalume went through what DevOps is and what it is for. I believe you've been able to understand what it's about. At Zindua, we have a DevOps specialization program that runs for 12 weeks. And it is ideal for people who would love to transition into cloud automation and if you want to be an engineer who builds, deploys, and manage the backbone of modern software. So I believe Kalume has handled prerequisites and all. So if you're ready to bridge the gap between development and operations, specifically for people who are looking to automate complex workflows, master the cloud infrastructure, and also achieve professional Azure certification, then this program is for you. I will quickly go through what this 12-week program will cover. I won't go deep into it. I'll just state what you're going to grasp. You're going to learn about Linux and Bash foundations. You're also going to build automation on the CI/CD, and then you're going to learn about containerization and also orchestration. And then you're going to learn about cloud infrastructure and security, and finally work on your capstone and get the Azure certification. If you ask about pricing, at Zindua, we take pride in flexible payments. And in regards to this, I'll just give a breakdown of the payment plans that we have. If you want to pay for the program upfront, we have the 5,000 deposit for you to confirm a slot, and then we have the 60,000 one-time fee, totaling it to a total of 65,000. That is for one-time payment. If you are if 2 months installment is what works for you, still you're going to have the 5K deposit and then the 31,500 Kenya shillings monthly installments for the 2 months, making it a total of 68,000. And finally, if you want to go the lipa mdogo mdogo route, if that's the route that is ideal for you, still the same 5K deposit to confirm enrollment, and then the 13,500 monthly installments that go for around 5 months. There's a bonus for people, for Zindua alumni. If you've been part of a core program before, there's a 15,000 discount available for you. So you might ask yourself, there's so many coding schools that are offering this program. Why us? I'll go right into how our program structure looks like. It is curated online resources on our learning management system. We have an LMS where we have built a curated program experience based on most on-demand skills required for your chosen pathway. We also are more of hands-on other than theory, where students work on daily challenges and weekly projects, and also the capstone projects after every module. And then we have the personalized technical support. The ratio for the student to the TM is ideal, where you're able to have one-on-one support and also have the live sessions with TMs that is weekly, and as well as personalized sessions that are hybrid. And then you have an in-person session once a week, that is on Saturday. And then we also have advanced curricula, where it's anchored on the certification exam that is given at the very end of the program, which keeps you updated based on the market needs. So with all that, if you have any questions, kindly feel free. I can see we have a couple of questions on chat. I think Kalume, if you're in a position to handle them, we have some questions on the chat. I think I can read them for you. Gillian is asking for you to reach out in person. So there's a question here. I have a bit of textbook knowledge of DevOps, but I'm curious of Mr. Kalume's experience of it. Is it possible to briefly share a day in the life? Are you open to sharing a day of your life, Kalume? How does a typical
Yeah,
day
sure.
of a DevOps eng look like?
For a typical day of a DevOps engineer, it works like any other day for a software engineer. You get to work on the time that you need to be at work. Let's say it's 8. And the first thing you'll be encountering is the issues, the hurdles that the software engineers will have experienced maybe during the night or yesterday. But also another thing is that you'll need to resolve issues. Maybe the applications are not running. Maybe the application are not reachable. The communication between applications not reachable. So that's like you're handling some of the operations part, but mainly you'll be handling on the automation. That's majorly what you'll do. You'll be writing pipeline. You'll not write a single pipeline and say you've done. No. Today you write a pipeline maybe for front-end engineers. The pipeline for today is maybe building for an Angular project. But tomorrow, a project comes with React. The pipeline for Angular project will not work. That means you need to write a pipeline for the React one. On another day, maybe you are doing a PHP, and now a PHP will not work. Maybe there is node that has comes into place. Then you need to do. So there's that bit of automation and writing of pipelines and the scripting part. But also another thing that we'll majorly do is monitoring the lower environments in a well-structured or in an enterprise where maybe the team is big. This DevOps engineer will measure on the low environment, then the high environments, maybe there's a dedicated engineers for the production environment. So the day-to-day for DevOps engineer, mainly support for the developers and also the automation. That's the big task that will be handling.
All right, thank you for sharing. We have another question. Can a person who is not a software engineer or with a CS degree become a DevOps engineer?
Yeah, anyone can become a DevOps engineer. It's about curiosity. The same way we have so many software engineers who didn't attend a class on software development, no IT, no CS degrees, but today they can write a code. Same way for DevOps engineer. What you need is curiosity and eager to learn. So you just get the foundation for software development. You don't need to be good, proficient writing code. What you need to do is just learn the foundation of software engineering. Then your hands should be on deck. So on this, just work on projects, on real world projects, a project upon a project. So from this basic project, then you advance on the next. So it's about curiosity curiosity and eager to learn.
Okay, so we just need to grasp the foundations and be curious to learn and
Yeah,
eager
yeah,
to learn. I hope
yeah,
that
yeah.
answers your question. Another question I have a question regarding the relation between backend development and DevOps. Is it advisable to combine the two, or are they just different tracks?
Mm, on this, as of now, most of the DevOps engineers transited from development. So a DevOps engineer is a software, it's a developer, uh, most likely. And if not most likely, then he has a good background in development. So he can do both and see where the opportunities come or where you will be enticed more to to base on. But you can be a DevOps engineer and a backend developer, because the DevOps, what the DevOps do is that they ship the application that is built by a software engineer.
All right, we have an interesting question here from Bruce. He says, I understand we are in DevOps topic, but it's good to connect with software engineers and ask a burning question. Guys, what is the future of backend with roles declining? How can I shape myself to be hireable backend developer? Also, if you want to explain your question, or if you have a question and you want to unmute the mic, feel free to unmute the mic. You can raise your hand and then you can go ahead. Kadume, are you able to handle that question?
On the future of backend,
Do you have any opinion on that?
maybe I give it Ezekiel.
Okay, Bruce, this is your question, right? You're
It's-
saying it's good. You can hear me, right, Grace?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think it's so good to connect with software engineers and ask a burning question. Okay, guys, what is the future of backend with roles declining? How? Okay, roles can decline, and this usually two-way, and I know it's coming the backdrop of AI coming in. There's still, if you go to LinkedIn, you go to searching jobs all over the place, we always find the roles open. Only that now, what is shifting is the kind or the level of experience that's required to handle even AI written code. Okay, because people are running using AI mostly to do things, but now they experience problems or they want to make some changes probably, and if you don't have that back that good experience. Yes, there's a background. Yes. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, not a problem. So I was saying, if you don't have a good experience, understand the languages or the kind of tools that you use quite well, probably you won't be able to survive, because the low level jobs from junior around there, probably those roles are significantly going down for now, because ideally what we used to work on, say for example 1 month, 2 months, one developer can be able to work on it in less than a week or thereabout. So that that ideally in an office setup that required a project to be handled by say 5 developers, junior developers, that means one developer can be able to handle it with the use of AI or through. But now on the higher levels, now when you level up quite well. There are jobs all over the place. There are jobs all over the place on that level. So get your experience right, understand things much better, Data structures is very core. Make sure that you understand things quite well. You should be able to get yourself hiring in that sense. Okay. You there's another one. Let me just take it up. Regarding the future of backend, I am a database admin, and I am trying to venture into development jobs. Backend dev jobs exist, but I think you may have to also entertain the idea of running your own projects outside employment. Yeah, think about solutions you can be able to solve out there. Think about that. Probably you can be able to create your own job in that regard. The people complain about it for in the Kenyan system. I'm assuming Kenyans here can understand that we are creating more employees than employers. So probably think around that line as well. There's so many opportunities, especially in Africa, which IT in general is coming up. And just to mention another thing, I guess Kalume can confirm that, as he said earlier on, most of the current DevOps engineers are just abstracts from software engineers. Okay, basically a DevOps engineer is basically a software engineer, whichever way you can have a look at it. It's only that it's just a subsection of it. And then DevOps again is regarded as a subsection again of backend in general. Backend has got like three major sections. The development bit, maybe probably building APIs all through. Then we do have the API gateway, which is basically uh, deals with managing APIs, adding security into the APIs all through. Then DevOps comes in, which is basically the way you can be able to have a look at it from the simplest way, as Kaluma has put it, having whatever you're building there available for anyone else to see it out there in the simplest way you can be able to explain it. So, backend, if you're already in backend, you're on the right track pretty much. All you need to do is upscale on maybe Git and version control much better. Then you can be able to improve on scripting pretty much, and then cloud stuff all through. All the pipelines is been talking about how to build them all through, setting up all those things. It's all around that. Then you should be pretty much okay. Now that you're developing APIs and then you leave them there, you can be able to now understand what happens after that. Okay, so that's the next level in that regard. And then again, to be hireable again, you need to adapt to the changing world. If it's AI coming in, learn on how to leverage it. Learn on how you can be able to use AI to automate some other stuff that you will otherwise have written by yourself. Then if it's DevSecOps coming in, understand what that is. Get to understand how it works. Just level up. You don't stop somewhere. Don't just stop just that you're just a backend engineer. That's the end of the world. No, keep going. Go with the world as it is. If you check the ads for job descriptions all through different jobs, when you go into responsibilities and all that, you'll find like it's a myriad of all those things that I've mentioned that they require from a software engineer. And then they say it's junior role, but they're asking for 5 years experience, and then you've got all these skills. So you have to level up. There's no shortcut around that. Guess that summarizes that, unless Kalume has to add something, and if there are other questions.
Maybe to add on is maybe to do an icing on the cake about the AI. I had not talked about it, but the AI has been a crucial part in the world of DevOps because it runs from the writing of the code to the monitoring of the code. So what AI does is that we're able to, one part of it is able to be proactive instead of being reactive to incidents. So we have something called AI Ops, which is seem new, but it's not new. Maybe now it's getting to the field actively and widely. So what AI ops does that we're able to monitor our environments, not a mass that we are there on the environment or something fails, then we don't know what has failed, but it's able to collect data with over some time, then able to analyze this data and able to resolve incidences. Maybe if you're running your containers on maybe a server using Docker, so maybe a container fails, then when it fails, then how do you need to reset a container? You need to delete a container. Then when you have an AI, before you come to check that issue, then the AI should be able to resolve this try to resolve this incident and keep the application on operation. So as Ezekiel said, you need to level up, you need to be there. Roles are not declining. As someone said that AI is not coming to replace people, but those who are using AI will not be replaced. But those who are not using it, they'll be replaced by the AI. So on this scenario is that if you're not using AI, then someone using AI will replace you. So if AI is there, use AI. And AI should not be used to, as we've seen, maybe some people, they paste their case scenario, they take the code, they paste it there, but let's make you productive and also need to learn, because when you be copy pasting code from one point to another, that's not learning. But all you need you should be able to maybe to be more productive than previous on DevOps, then it should assist you not always to be there to monitor applications manually, but if you're not there it's 2 a.m. and application has failed, can AI assist you? Can it make decisions? Can it predict a failure in build? Can it predict a failure in the test case? Then if there's a failure in the test case, can AI try to resolve that and give us a test case that will not fail? And if it's a code issue, then can it able to guide or give decision to the developer that this application has failed because maybe a line code this the way you wrote it, maybe it's not okay. Yeah, that's what I can say, Ezekiel.
Thank you for that. I almost forgot that layer. And there's another question on the chat from Eva. I don't know whether you can be able to see it, saying regarding AI and DevOps, how do you ensure IP is protected while including it in automation? And then there's an addition there, especially with the development and the testing.
So I think if ever is saying protected, that means it cannot be exposed. So if it cannot be exposed, let's say you are connecting to a server using maybe a script. So that means you need to be using an environment variables. So during the execution is when you are giving the API. It's not on the Git or it's not on the script somewhere, but it should be dynamically replaced. That's how we can protect it. But also the bigger protection is also on the platform where we are running it. If are we able to protect that platform? Because if we're not able to protect the platform, then the rest will be it will be written off. So as we are doing with secrets, as we are doing with credentials, we are not hard coding them. We are using variables or environment like parameters. So on the need basis is when we are providing them, and we don't log them on the logs, because let's say a pipeline it will log it. If it's on the monitoring part, a server is down, then this log should be sitting at somewhere which is protected, because we cannot mask an IP and maybe need to resolve an issue on that server. So if you mask it, then you'll not be able to tell which server. So if it's on the log, then on this log that will be collected by AI, they need to be you need protection. So yeah, AI is there, but we need to be very very, very careful on our assets.
Still on the same breath, Eva again is asking, what are some of the AI tools you use? If you can mention.
So is it on the monitoring or?
Probably.
Because some of the AI tools for DevOps is we have the space lift, which is for the infrastructure orchestration. Then we have maybe something like the Amazon Q developer. That's for AI. So this is majorly depends on what you want to, or what you want you to do, or want you to achieve on that on that task. So it's not a one size fit all. It depends on what you want to do, or what you want to achieve, for you to choose the best AI tool for your fit.
Awesome. I guess, thank you, Kalume, for that detailed process of explaining what DevOps is and how is AI affecting it positively, especially, and everything around that as you've taken us through. And thank you guys for the questions. I don't know whether the great Grace has other questions, or not questions, but other additional comments in that regard before we call it a day.
All right. Sorry, is that echo from my end?
Yes.
All right. So, in case you would want to join our DevOps program, I have pasted the link on the chat. I will paste it again. Don't hesitate to apply. In case you joined the call late and would love to catch up on what we were talking about in the call, I'm going to share the recording tomorrow after the recording has finished generating. I'm also going to reshare the application link on the email tomorrow. So be sure to apply and join our DevOps specialization course. As I had broken down the benefits of doing this course with Zindua School, and I've broken down the pricing. If you don't have any other questions, I think you can scan the QR code and join and be part of our community. Now that we don't have any further questions, I think we can call it a night. But in case you have further question, or you want clarifications on our course, I think, Ezekiel, you can go to the next slide. They can get a snippet or a screenshot of our contact number or contact email. If you have any questions in regards to the program, feel free to reach out to that number. Our admissions manager will be happy to help, or you can send us an email. You can also check out our website under specialization course. You can get also more details about the program. That was it for us. Thank you for tuning in. Have a lovely night. Ezekiel, I hope I'm not cutting you off on anything.
Not really. Thank you, guys. Thank you again for joining. We really appreciate for taking your time to join and listening to us all through. And then, of course, from what Grace has said, you can be able to join our program that's coming soon. And before I forget, Kalume, there's a text. Actually, he's doing it the second time, so probably you can be able to see from one Gideon. I don't know whether you meant Gideon, but keep quiet. He will text you on LinkedIn. Probably you can be able to remember that name to respond. Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Enjoy your night.
Thank you for joining, guys. Good night.